Good afternoon, how y'all doing?
Good.
The reason we called this press conference today, this is something that we had talked about in one of our ONE's Task Force Board meetings a couple of weeks ago, and that was the dangers of Xanax. We felt as a board that Xanax was being used and abused by a lot of young females in our community, and it was to the point that it was becoming a public health crisis. We're seeing a lot of young ladies that are being sexually assaulted and sexually abused as a result of the use and abuse of this drug. And so we felt it would be our responsibility as a board to come out and inform the public of the dangers of Xanax and the dangers that it poses not only to young women but also to the males that are using it as well. Now, since the beginning of this year, we've seized over 10,000 different variations and forms of Xanax. We've seized pill form, tablet forms, and liquid form. We've made 33 arrests and seized over $50,000 worth of the drug. So it's out there in the community. It's a dangerous drug. It presents a clear and present danger to the community. And we felt like it was our duty and responsibility to share with you what we're seeing with respect to this drug. Now, having said that, we have Mr. Derrick Osborn here from Pride. He's going to talk a little bit about the drug itself and some of the side effects and issues that it causes for the people that are taking it. And we also have Lynn Head from the District Attorney's Office. She's going to talk about how the use of this drug affects prosecution and our ability to prosecute. But we also have other board members that I'd like to introduce to you real quickly, and they'll have the opportunity if they would like to say anything. But we have Sheriff Ron Abernathy from the Tuscaloosa County Sheriff's Department. We have Chief John Hooks from the University of Alabama Police Department, and we have Chief Gerald Burton from the Northport Police Department. All of these individuals are part of the West Alabama Narcotics Task Force Board, and we all work together as a group to ensure that we fight the drug issues that are facing our community. And this is a serious problem, and that's why we felt the need to address it today. And so, without further ado, I bring up Mr. Osborn and I let him do some talk to you all about some of the issues related to the use of the drug. Mr. Osborn.
Thank you, Chief. My name is Derrick Osborn. It's Derrick, D-E-R-E-K, Osborn, O-S-B-O-R-N, because it's usually misspelled by most folks, but that's all right. The Chief and the Narcotics Task Force and VA, Ms. Head, asked me to come up and speak to you today just a little bit about Xanax. Pride of Tuscaloosa is a prevention organization, drug and alcohol prevention. We also do extensive research on drugs and tendencies and composition and where they're coming from and the availability, as well as how easily this stuff is found on the dark net. And if you have any questions about these things, I'll be happy to talk to you about those. As most of you know, Xanax is an antidepressant. It's a benzodiazepine. What we found out is that a lot of these kids are taking the Xanax. Obviously, as usual, they've been mixing it with alcohol, which when you put a depressant on top of a depressant, you have very, very harsh complications. When it attacks the central nervous system, what it does is brings down your blood level, your blood pressure, your heart rate, your breathing, and eventually, and if you're not treated soon, death. And that's obviously what we're trying to prevent and make the kids in our community and the parents and the teachers and everybody that's around us in our community understand how serious this can be and how easily it can be accessorized by getting it out of a medicine cabinet or buying it online or getting it at a friend's house. I think Ms. Head today will ask you or tell you to please lock up your drugs. And that's what we ask all parents to do. But as this sits, it's an epidemic type thing, whether it be the young women taking it on their own or whether it's getting mixed into drinks or into other things that are given to them. It will cause severe memory loss. They will not know where they are. They will not know where they've been. They will not know who took them home or how they ended up there or where they are until they end up and possibly potentially wake up in a hospital. A couple of weeks ago, I was hospitalized for something, and when I went into the hospital, there was a young woman who had just been admitted who was there with a group of friends, and she had overdosed mixing Xanax and alcohol, and that was on a random Thursday night, and that's how prevalent it is in Tuscaloosa. So if there's anything more I can do, please let me know, and thank you all for including me.
afternoon. Derrick knows that every group I have the opportunity to talk to, I say this: lock up your drugs. And that is the message, one of the messages I want to send out to the community. If you have prescription pills for any condition, any past surgery, anything, you need to lock up your drugs. I have a drawer in my closet that has a lock on it. It cost me $20 and my husband 10 minutes to install. The reason for that is because a heroin addict who is recovered now, who helps us present programs, tells me that the first access that he had to pills that later formed his addiction to heroin was because he was able to access his parents' prescription drugs. I went home that day and locked up old pain medicine from prior shoulder surgeries, and I tell everybody who will listen to lock up your drugs. Right now, let me tell you how far-reaching this problem is with the Xanax in particular. I've got schools, middle schools and high schools, who are asking us to present this education and awareness program. We're about to hit middle schools and high schools to educate parents and kids about the dangers of these drugs. They can cause, like he said, the practical term is blackout. And the problem is these kids, I think they to some extent anticipate these consequences. So what we need to do, because they're not going to watch the news, right? We need to tell them and educate them, do not do this, it is not worth it. Now let me tell you about the practical aspect of this for law enforcement. When we have individuals, young individuals, who, especially our college students, and our high school kids who can be out on their own, are able to drive. They take these things, they're unable, they lose physical and mental control of themselves, and they then later can't remember what happened and who they were with or who took them home. All right, then somebody mentions, oh, was that person assaulted? I think that person was assaulted. I think I might have been assaulted. Here's the problem. If they were or if they weren't, it increases vulnerability for the potential accused, and certainly for anybody who is in that position. It increases their vulnerability to a sexual assault. But the biggest problem isn't just that. It inhibits the ability of law enforcement to adequately investigate that crime. And I just realized I moved away from the podium and therefore away from the microphones, which I always do, sorry. But they can't investigate it if the only answer is, I'm not sure, because I don't remember. And that's what these drugs do. Law enforcement has a very hard time dealing with this, presenting the case to us, and for us to do anything to prosecute it. And so, please, please, tell your family members, friends, kids, let them know the dangerousness of these drugs and the increased vulnerability to problems in relationships and behavior among their friends. Thank you.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for anyone on the panel regarding this issue?
I have two questions.
Yes,
First of
ma'am.
all, I missed the part of how much in dollar amount y'all had seized this year.
It's been over $50,000 worth of the drugs seized this year.
And second of all, do you have any kind of numbers or statistics on sexual assaults that involve Xanax?
I don't have
this
any.
year or in the past 5 years? Or?
I don't have any with us or with me today. I don't know if you brought any, but I do know that we have worked one high-profile case in particular in recent months in which Xanax was used and was a contributing factor in the sexual assault of a female student in our city.
Was that the Shelton case?
That was the case from Boardwalk Apartments. I don't know if it had anything to do with Shelton State, but that was the case from Boardwalk.
Chief, in regards to Xanax, is it your understanding from talking to your investigators or maybe some of the people who have used it, they want to be knocked out or almost unconscious? Is that the draw, or is it something else?
I don't know what the draw is. I hadn't talked to my people about it, so I couldn't tell you what the draw of the drug is. Other than it just seems to be all of the rage right now, and we're trying to get the word out and let people know that this is a public health crisis, and it is something that needs to be taken seriously.
Has it been linked to any fatal overdoses?
None that I'm aware of.
Of all the prescription pills that y'all see being used, is Xanax the most prevalent, would you say?
I wouldn't say that it's the most prevalent. There are other prescription drugs that are probably more abused than Xanax, but Xanax is definitely one that we're seeing in a lot of the sexual assaults that are being reported to us as one of the drugs that's being used the most. Any other questions? All right, we're going to take a short break to give everyone that's up here on the panel an opportunity to step down and leave, and then we'll move on to the next two issues that we're here to address.